Listen only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mark Raymakers here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I want to thank you so much for taking time to join us here today. I am the Vice President of our Life Marketing Department, and we have a real treat that we're bringing to you here this morning from the President, the founder of Wealth and Wisdom, Len Rainier. So excited to have you all on here this morning. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go through some intro slides, tell you a little bit about us, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Len. So Len, thank you for taking time to join us here this morning. I know you have been extremely busy on the road traveling, as we just talked here just a minute ago. And
yeah, it's been pretty hectic.
all good things though, right?
Oh yeah, all really good things.
Good, good. And I know you were just mentioning here the average commission per sale on this has been, would you say 15,000 or something like that?
1,000 per life case. And what we really focus in on is the generational planning, and then we also have some great presentations on bringing your annuity back to life. And our average size modified endowment is right at $320,000 per case.
Wow, that's great. So, yeah, here's what we'll do is I'm going to go through these real quick. If you have any questions, you can certainly type those in the question box. This is a recorded webinar, so we'll shoot this over to you here once this is all compiled on the YouTube. So let's go ahead and get started. I know you're all busy, so hang with me here. There's a few different things that we do. I said more than just a few, but things that we do here for our advisors, agents in the field. And one of them here real quick is our referred producer program. We love referrals just like you do. And so what we do is for every referral that you send to us that we contract, we'll send you a check for $50. Now, every time that your referral writes business, you are going to have money accumulated in an account. And what will happen is we will send you a check once a quarter for their production. And this applies to everything that they write. So you pretty much look at about a 20 basis points on annuities or single premium life. And then that is a fraction of that as well for the target life premium. And so if you look at, for example, 3 different producers that write $1 million in total premium, single premium, annuities, etc., that's $6,000 for you. I can tell you right now that we have agents that are collecting over 10 grand a year from our referred producer program. So it's an opportunity for us to grow our business and a way for us to say thank you. Now, here's something I really like. When I was in the field, I didn't have such a thing, but this is pretty big. So what happens is, when you write, say, $100,000 in annuities, $100,000 in single premium life, $10,000 in target life premium, we'll put $200 into a marketing reimbursement account for you. So let's just say that we got Christmas coming up, right? Let's say you decide that you want to hold a party for your clients. We do have quite a few of these going on this time of the year. Let's say you spend $1,000. You send us a receipt. Now, that's not much of a party, you could probably say in today's standards, but if you spend $1,000, send us a receipt. We'll send you a check for $500. And this is however you want to market yourself, whether it's through your website, through its mail, radio, television, whatever it would be, that will be reimbursed you 50%. So certainly helps your bottom line. So keep that in mind as we move along here. New producers. So let's just say you get started with us here today. You start writing business through, this is Mutual Trust, help put this together this morning with Len. But let's say you write 100,000 in annuities, single premium life, or $20,000 in target premium. What'll happen is we'll send you a check for one of the 3, either $750 cash bonus. We'll cover the cost of a 2-year website. So if you don't have a website set up now, we can get that up and running for you in 1 business day, or we'll send you a free iPad. Now, you choose any one of those 3. If you decide to wait till the next level, you can have the Social Security program, the 3,000-piece postcard mailing that goes with it. This is a great way to get in front of more senior buyers. This is an option for you to earn or buy. So if you want to buy anything, you can certainly call the marketing department. We'll get you everything you need for that. You might just wait and decide to go with the 2,000 matching, or the marketing reimbursement, I should say. So this is great. $2,000 for you to market yourself however you want. Or there's a $1,500 gift card you can utilize. You might want to wait till the end, the last one. And this one here is really heavily focused on seminars. You'll see our first is 5,000-piece mailing and seminar coaching with Matt Gill. or 4,000 Piece Mailing Seminar Coaching with Dave Pimper. These two gentlemen are phenomenal in the seminar market. This is how they get in front of folks. This is how they are so successful. They're top producers of ours. They qualify for all of our trips. So if you're interested in seminars, you can earn it, or you can certainly call and buy into the program. Lastly, there's the Ritz-Carlton Travel Rewards program. If you decide just to take a vacation instead, you can certainly do that. Now, our back office support, I think it's second to none. We help you from A to Z with different business building tools and resources, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. Now, we do everything as far as case design, so if you need help with the case, whether it be advanced all the way down to a term quote, we can do that for you. All the forms are available. We shoot those over to you with the illustration, submission to commission. So when you write a case, not only do we scrub it, we order the exams for you, but we see it through the whole process. We work with the companies, the underwriters, etc. Our goal is once you submit it to us, then you sit back and you prospect, you sell, you do what you do best. We'll take it from there. We handle all your life annuity quotes for you. And I would say the nice thing about working with us is not only have we been in the field ourselves, most of our marketing have been there, so they understand the unique challenges that you have, but we also have the coaching that you need to become familiar with the different carriers or products, the sales strategies, etc. We have the paperless contracting, so you can get set up with us. Go online, and you can fill it out that way, or we email it over to you, and then you can go ahead and complete it. And every time you want to add a new carrier, just simply give us a phone call, and we'll go ahead and add new carriers without additional paperwork. So our creative marketing solutions, they do a tremendous job from the turnkey all the way to the digital solutions. I have seen the stuff they put together. We have many advisors that take advantage of that, so we help create a brand. We help get you out there. You can reach out to your clients, your prospects through a number of different ways, whether it be through newsletters, flyers, postcards, setting up a brand for yourself if you haven't done that. In the logo design, you see the customizable branding materials. I've seen a lot of brochures that they create and produce are just amazing. They're so professionally done. And so if you need something, there's a lot of advisors out there that are expanding their business with our new RIA. I'll be talking about that here in just a minute. But you can put all this on different brochures, so you let the prospects, your clients, know all the things that you can do for them. Digital solutions as well, so whether or not you're taking advantage of social media, there's a lot of great things that we do here as well. So you can see, obviously, from soup to nuts on this side, from the client marketing solutions, our team can help you with that. If you're not taking advantage of it, I certainly would encourage you to call and ask for that department there. Now, our website is set up to help you 24/7. Now, of course, you can call us from 7:30 to 5:30, and there's somebody here to help you. But we understand that after hours or the weekends, you might need some help. That's what our website's designed to do, is to provide you that support, no matter where you are, whatever it is that you're doing. So check it out, www.imzinc.com. The Retirement Analyzer, this is a program designed to help you take a holistic approach to retirement financial planning for your clients. This will help them to determine, as well as yourself, of course, if your clients are going to be able to reach their retirement goals. And so if you are handy with the computer, you're comfortable with that, this program is for you. But if you're like some guys I talk to that unplug their computer to turn it off, probably not necessarily designed for you. But I would encourage you to call and ask for the annuity department. They will go through the Retirement Analyzer with you if you're interested in that. Okay, so we have created, with this whole Department of Labor, we have created the IAMS Wealth Management. And so what I want to do here real quick, because I understand there's a lot of interest in knowing what do I need to do if I want to be series licensed. There's questions about what does it mean for me? How can I help my clients by going and getting my 65? So what we'll do here is we will help you. And if you're interested in talking with one of the folks over in the IAMS Wealth team, all you have to do is mark yes. I'll have them give you a call. But we do help you cover that cost of that 65. The nice thing about it is when you are working in that area, there's that increased revenue opportunity. You're able to manage your clients' funds as well, not just doing the life insurance or the annuities or long-term care, but this is a holistic approach. You will see an increase in your income because you are offering more lines of business, obviously, to your clients, and they're going to stick with you. The more lines of business that you write together, the better the chances of you retaining them and making them a lifetime client. And obviously it grows the relationships. You're viewed differently by your clients. And, as an advisor, you're now a fiduciary. You're helping them make sure that when that day comes that they retire, that they don't outlive their assets, that they are well cared for. And so if you want to speak with one of these folks, just mark yes. I'll have one of them give you a call, and they'll tell you what we've got available. Now, I can tell you right now from a commission grid, ours is top. I don't see that we're getting beat there. As far as fees, we are right in there. In fact, there's a lot of talk I'm hearing right now that advisors are not pleased with what's happening with their fee structures. And I can tell you right now, again, competitive. I don't see that we're getting beat. So good response. I appreciate that. I will certainly turn your name over to the folks over there in the IAMS Wealth Management. But this is a great opportunity for you to control, to grow your business. And if you're going to be in it for a while, it's certainly worth looking into. These guys and gals will certainly help you with that. Well, it looks like we're still getting some votes here, so I'm going to give it just another second, and then we're going to move on. I know that you're all very busy, and Len, I know that you're a busy man, so I want to get going through this here as quickly as possible so we can turn it over to you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. If you decide you want to speak with one of the folks over there, all you have to do is just give us a call here, and we will connect you with the IAMS Wealth Department. Okay, let's move on. Good thing, we're big on training. You'll notice our webinar schedule is packed. Monday through Friday, we've got something going on. But we understand that it's nice to sit in a classroom, to actually see some different things, to have a chance to speak with other professionals in the field. And that's one of the things that we do here with our Life Annuity Academy. And this is another quick poll for you. So mark yes or no as quickly as you can. And so I'm going to explain this to you real fast. So we generally will do 3 different trainings a year. Now, we have one more that's scheduled, it's full, but what we'll do again is we'll do 3 more next year. And so what we do is IAMS will cover the cost of your airfare, your meals, and your lodging. So we cover your expenses. We bring you as well as speakers from across the country on a Wednesday. So we're together Wednesday evening, all day Thursday, half a day Friday, then we get you on a plane to fly you back home. Our speakers come from across the country to talk about sales concepts. This is not a product-driven training. This is about how to help you grow your life and your annuity business. You might be just offering annuities. You want to grow your business in other areas as well. Or maybe you're a life agent wanting to grow your annuity business. This is for you. So if you were interested in knowing more, maybe seeing the agenda, obviously by getting your name, what we'll do is we'll email you the dates that we have for 2018. We have got nothing scheduled at this point, but if you mark yes, at least we know you're interested in knowing more. If you don't, we won't know. So if I can get you to get in on this here, let me know. We're not, again, not talking about products so much. We will introduce products, things that are changing out there, things that are happening with DOL. It's very well-rounded. There's an opportunity for you to visit with other advisors that are in this industry that are very successful. And that's one of the things I like about this is an opportunity for you to see what other advisors are doing out there to grow their business. And I can tell you right now, again, I've been in this business since '88. I've been to these myself. This is a very, very well-rounded event. And this is, it's from what I've been seeing from the different surveys, this is the best out there. And so good opportunity. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. If you decide that you are interested in knowing more about it and you want to attend it or at least get an agenda, just mark yes, or again, call in and just let anyone that answers the phone know that you'd like to know more about the Life and Annuity Academy. Okay, let's move on here. All right, real quick, we have our Boulders Resort and Spa. We do these every 18 months. And so this event is all the production, everything that you write with us goes towards an accumulation of points. And this is for advisor and guest. This is February 25th through the 28th next year. This particular qualification, so to speak, will run until the end of the year. And again, this is at the Boulders Resort and Spa in Scottsdale, Arizona. Would love to see you there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now. Len, if you're ready, I'm going to switch this over to you. Again, Len Rainier, he is the president, the founder of the Wealth and Wisdom Institute. And I am hearing so many good things about this. Obviously, you're here this morning because you have too and you want to know more. So, Len, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Thank you.
Mark, can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. Mark, that was wonderful. I think mine travels across the country, and we have just come off a road trip of of 16 cities in 12 weeks and 20 flights, and the reputation that your organization has is impeccable. I mean, it's you explained all the elements that is missing in the industry today, and we want to discuss that today because it's so important to understand the communication elements of our business and not necessarily the product end. We have to understand that before anything gets sold, the representative is first purchased by the client. So communication and training in our company is first and foremost because that's where the sale is made. For years, our industry has told us that everything is centered around the product and the illustration, and it's basically wrong when it comes to our marketing efforts. For the past 18 years, Wealth and Wisdom has, positioned itself as a communication, marketing, and research organization in the industry. We do quite a bit of research, and it's really interesting to listen to Mark talk about some of the elements of retirement goals and all of the challenges that people are facing. One of the most unique things that come out of our most recent studies was that 51% of the people in the United States currently, the working class people, realize that they're going to need some type of inheritance to pad their retirement by 20 to 40%. The Bureau for Economic Statistics from the federal government also states that the coming shortfall in retirement incomes for the average American and across the country is going to be between $4 and $13 trillion in the next 10 years. This is the next challenge we're facing. And we have been put in a very unique position because in our conversations with our clients, we can expose the problem. We can come up with the ideas and the concepts in our conversations, not necessarily on the illustrations themselves, but we can come up with the conversations to get the client excited. Not only is the client going to be enhanced by your communication, but the number of sales that you're going to make per client across the country at the Institute is 3.5 sales per client. And I want to share a little bit with this with you today because I think it's very important. And I started out by simply showing you the faceplate of the software and make sure that you understand that we are in the pure communication element. We do have calculators and things like that to discuss these elements with the client. But I really wanted to point out that I believe it is time in our industry to start to redefine the planning process. Your organization has a tremendous influence in the industry, and the approach you're taking has been, nationally accepted. And I think this is the path that we're going to be following. It's no longer about the illustration and the spreadsheets and all of these things. It's time to talk to the client very clearly. It's time to have a different discussion with them. In that discussion, we're going to challenge traditional financial thinking. And the planning process has to change because the industry and the economic trends and shifts are changing dramatically. Of that 51% that are expecting some type of inheritance, to pad their retirement, 25% of that 51% are expecting that inheritance to be 100% of their retirement accounts. Now, we all know the challenges of passing on, money from one generation to another, simply because of healthcare issues and things like that. And if you do a survey on the websites and look at companies across the country, we start to see, the conversations that traditional thinking is having. Well, don't rely on the inheritance. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't count on this. Well, the reason for that is because we don't insure the inheritance. We don't insure the value of the family. Our industry is very famous for allowing us to insure rich people to maintain the value of their family. We call it estate planning. We also have a tendency to maintain the value of businesses through key man and defined benefit type programs. We also take a look at all of the elements that we're allowed to do, but we really back away from the idea of ensuring the value of the family today and passing that on generationally, because the challenge that we're facing is a generational challenge. And if we have any opportunity to solve this problem, America will listen. And that's why we have to realign in our marketing approach, have the right conversations. And as Mark was saying, this is about revenue, relationships, and retention, and maximizing referrals. We're in the relationship business. We're in the human nature business. We're not a new illustration business. And if we don't approach the client from their passion instead of the passion of the industry, then we're truly going to lose the battle. So the marketing approach that we've established and the conversations are going to bring additional sales to your type of business. We do average around $15,000 per commission in a life sale, only because we talk about generational planning, and all of a sudden inside your conference room we have two generations of a family arguing how much they can put in. Because this number in the generational setting, in the training that we present to you, puts certainty in their financial future. I have been able to give certainty to my family. My children own certainty on me. I am the product. The life insurance company is a facilitator of the leverage that they were looking for in their financial goals in their lives. We have obtained their financial goals using me as the solution in their lives. They own the life insurance product on me. And it's a significant amount. So we have to change our culture. We have to change the way we think. America will accept this immediately because they recognize the challenges they're facing. According to the federal government, 78% of the now people working are estimating that they're going to have shortfalls in their retirement. The challenge is out on the table, and we need to solve the challenges for the client. So this year we introduced lessons in financial clarity and redefining the planning process. So we stand behind this line right here. Knowledge is something that you learn. Wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge to your everyday life. Clarity in your financial life is wisdom. We need to bring clarity with us every time we meet a client. Wisdom in your financial life gives you an opportunity to understand what's happening in your life now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, and gives you the ability to review and rethink some of the things you've done in the past. With clarity and wisdom, you can change your financial future. And these are simply a series of discussions. And the purpose of these discussions is to address the challenges. I'm going to go through 5 challenges that we're facing in our industry. I've read the Department of Labor. I read the health care bill when it first came out. I read Cap and Trade. That's part of my research element. We are in circles with economists. I am in circles with advisors for congressmen and senators. Not that I like those people, but they leak out what they're planning on doing to us and the average American in the next 1,000 days. We need to know what's happening. We need to pay attention to what these folks are doing because they are going to impact our financial futures the most. You see, first, it's going to be most difficult to achieve the financial future that you're looking for, Mr. and Mrs. Client, because every financial decision you take is surrounded by risk, taxes, regulation, or penalties, inflation, and depreciation of the dollar. I want you to sit back and think about this just for 1 second, because everything that we do in this industry is surrounded by the problems that the clients want to avoid: the risk, the taxes, the regulation, inflation, and depreciation of the dollar. Traditional thinking comes along and says, you know what, why don't you just overfund your 401k? Did that 401k solve the problems of risk, taxes, regulation, inflation, and depreciation of the dollar, or did I just describe to you what it is? You see, there's no leverage here. You see, there's no certainty here. You see, they don't own a number in the future. So these are one of the challenges that we're facing. So we need to also take a look at the formula that's been used by traditional thinking. Time times rate of return times monetary unit equals accumulation. Well, unfortunately, the formula is flawed, and the only element in that formula that is correct is time. In a funny way, we're become time managers and time planners, not accumulation managers. The average 50-year-old American in the United States has $47,000 saved for retirement. What is the next crisis? What is the solution they're looking for? Is it simply overfunding the 401k that is surrounded by risk, taxes, regulation, inflation, and depreciation of the dollar? Or should we create and give them some opportunities to own a number in their financial future? We have to have the right conversations to do that. Third, we must understand that economic trends and shifts are not favorable for traditional planning. The way we're sitting right now, we just passed $20 trillion in debt in our country, and the Congressional Budget Office just upped the ante on this and said by 2025, we'll be at $30 trillion. We have a declining workforce, an aging population, and a working population that's finding it difficult to save. So many times in traditional thinking, the solution is simply put more money away. How, when median incomes have remained flat over the past several years? We need to come up with some new ideas and some new solutions. And our industry, God bless them, is centered on different levels of risk. We have this conversation with clients when they first come in. I like dealing in certainty if it's all possible. Traditional thinking is selling you different levels of risk. And they assume that you should be the one to assume all the risk. But I like dealing in certainty. But I'm sure you can walk outside my office today and find 20 people in my business that are willing to put everything you got at risk. I like dealing in certainty. And finally, most of traditional planning today is absent of clarity, certainty, and leverage. Leverage being the big word. Me putting more money in my 401k does not make the rates of return go higher. Me paying off my house as fast as I can does not make the value of the house go up. Me paying off my car as fast as I can did not add value to the car. But every financial institution in the world is telling me that's what I should be doing. You see, although these challenges seem overwhelming to you at this point, they're not. They're based on common sense. And the client's going to get it right away. You see, if we continue, this is only going to remain overwhelming if we continue to do the same thought process that collides with the challenges the client doesn't want. That's why in traditional thinking, we end up monitoring the problem and not solving it. We monitor the taxes and the risk and the regulations. We don't solve them. It's time to redefine the planning process. You see, if we're having the wrong discussion, we'll never get to the right solutions. That's a great line in communication to use with your client. We're having the wrong discussions. So if we look at the 5 core elements that we discussed, because traditional financial thinking grossly underestimates the impact of economic trends and shifts. And Mr. and Mrs. Client, how can you be aware of something that you're not aware of? Now, everything I'm showing you, for people who do seminars, for people who do meetings, for people who do radio, all of this is on our software. We have created communication software to have hundreds of different conversations without the solution. We're not giving the solution because you're the solution in the client's life, not me. But we're going to have the right discussion with them that discusses the challenges they're facing and the myths and realities behind traditional thinking. You're the solution. And that solution is going to bring you multiple sales, larger cases, and an opportunity to maximize your referrals down the line, because we've created over 82 pieces for you to use to stay in front of your client. If you don't have marketing, then you're dead in the water. See, many times, Mr. and Mrs. Client, the problems that they're giving you have a solution, but the solution also contains a problem. And there's those 5 core elements. I asked you one question: does the 401k solve this problem? Let me ask you a couple other questions. Mr. and Mrs. Client, of these 5 elements, which of these do you control? Well, you might be able to control the risk a little bit. Mr. and Mrs. Client, which of these 5 elements do you want in your financial future? Why, none of them. So let me get this straight. Traditional thinking is, in their solutions, is giving something that you don't control and don't want. And how long do we continue down that path? You see, 4 of these 5 elements, taxes, penalties, inflation, and value of the dollar, is only an opportunity to lose money, not gain it. We have to redefine the planning process, because traditional thinking comes along and says, well, all you need is a balanced portfolio or some investments or things like that. But there is no problem that creates the leverage that solves the problems that they're facing. What is really controlling the problems that we're facing in the near future are the actions of the government. They're the ones who control the risk that you feel you need to take, the inflation, the depreciation of the dollar, the regulation, and the taxation. You see, if we do our research and we understand what is about to happen, in fiscal, this is from the government's own website. We've updated this to 2023 on our site, by the way. This is how the government took in their revenue. They took in $1.7 trillion just in income taxes at the end of fiscal year 2014. Their 5-year projection going through 2019 went from $1.7 trillion just in income taxes to $2.5 trillion in 5 years. Over a 50% increase in their revenue. Think about that for a second. Declining workforce, aging population, inability to save. A 52% increase in revenue. Here's the important question on this slide. Mr. and Mrs. Client, do you still believe, having this information from the government, it's a good idea to defer the taxes to a later date? And then we have to ask the question, is the government solving the problem or feeding the problem into the future? Because in 2014, the debt in our country is at $17 trillion, and although they're increasing their revenue by over 50%, their projection is going that the debt in 2019 will be $21 trillion. We just passed $20 trillion a month and a half ago. So these are the challenges that we're facing. And how, Mr. and Mrs. Client, can anybody make a recommendation, a decision without having this information? We need to teach our clients how to think. We need to create that relationship for them. So a very simple thing that we've created at the site, after we talk to them about the challenges they're facing in traditional thinking, let's let them create the most perfect product. Let's sit down for just 3 minutes. This is a 3-minute conversation on our site. And we have all the marketing pieces to back it up. Let's, Mr. and Mrs. Client, create the most perfect product that you could have in 3 minutes. There are 12 questions I'm going to ask you. Let's get started. First, in your most perfect investment, would you want a lot of risk involved with your money? Well, the answer is no. Would you like some guarantees? Well, that would be nice for a change. How about this? If you didn't trust yourself, would you load this perfect product up with a lot of penalties against yourself? No, I don't think I would do that. Next set of questions. Would you want to be able to get to your money when you need it? Yeah, that would be a good idea. Would you want your money protected from creditors or unemployed attorneys? Yeah, that would probably be a real good idea. And for the first time in your life, would you want to use leverage? That means creating the most amount of wealth using the least amount of money. Now add a line to this, in the least amount of time. Yeah, that would be a great thing. Good, we're halfway done with creating the most perfect product. Would you want your money to grow tax deferred? Well, that would probably be pretty good. Would you want your money to be tax-free upon distribution? Well, that would be an absolute must. How about this one? Would you want to use your money as a tool for other things that you want to do in your life today? Once you establish this perfect investment? Yeah, that would be good. Last 3 questions. Would you want the payments to be tax deductible when you put your money in? Well, that would be really good. And if you became injured or ill, or as we say in Detroit, you got shot, if you became disabled and couldn't work, would you want somebody else to make the deposits on your behalf? That would be really good. And if you died from that accident or that illness, would you want the money to go to your family tax-free? Yeah, that would be good. Mr. and Mrs. Client, you just completed the money matrix. Let's take a look at what you're currently doing. Here's the matrix. The 12 questions are on the left-hand side. On top of the IRA, brokerage account, homes, annuities, real estate. By the way, Mr. and Mrs. Client, all the things that you wanted in each perfect investment is in green. All the things you didn't want are in red. Here's what you wanted. Now the question is, why is what you want so different than what you're currently doing? Now, in this process, we're going to have these discussions with them because now we're starting to uncover how to find the premium on this. And if we do generational planning, you will be amazed that 2 generations of the family, the 45-year-old child of a 65-year-old parent, sitting in your conference room arguing how much they can put in. Because for the first time in their lives, they realize they have an opportunity to create certainty into their financial futures. And it solves the problems for their children and grandchildren in a way that nobody has been able to approach them before. Remember, all of these red areas were things you didn't want. Now listen to the words. Mr. and Mrs. Client, if I can get you 90 to 95% of what you wanted in this perfect investment, is that the discussion you want to have? You see, we're having the wrong discussion to get to the right solution. We need to have a different approach. We need to redefine the planning approach. Mr. and Mrs. Client, the rich have been doing this for 100 years. They do this first, and it gives them the permission slip. Once they have this perfect investment in place, it gives them the permission slip to take the risk and the challenges in owning a business and investing and things like that, because they've ushered and ensured their financial future. Meanwhile, traditional thinking and Susie Ormans of the world are saying, no, 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 no. Yeah, you do all this other stuff first. And if you have any nickels left at the end of the day, then you do what the rich do. And you know what, folks? It's completely backwards. If we can solve the financial goal first for this client, instead of having them go through all of these elements over the next 30 years, if we can give them the number that they want to retire to generationally first and solve that problem, is that the discussion we should have? You see, I believe in the generational solution, and I believe we have an opportunity in our industry to bring the right solutions to our clients, to give them the permission slips to invest in the right things. And I wanted to introduce you today, if you got 5 more minutes, I'd like to introduce you today to some ideas that we have put together in conversations with our clients. And so I simply want to help you take a look at annuities and things like that when we're looking and having these discussions with a client. Here's a unique conversation simply called Bringing Your Annuity Back to Life. If we understand the shortfalls, how many annuities are out there that aren't going to be used for income? How many annuities are out there that are making 1% or 2%? How many different types of money can we find in CDs and things like that, and in real estate, that aren't earning the type of money that they should be getting, that there's no leverage attached to it? Let's just take a quick look at this. And I'm going to speed through this, but in our symposiums in February, you'll be amazed at the conversations you're going to bring to the table. Because in this conversation, we're simply looking at and having a discussion with the client. Are we feeding the problem in your financial future, or are we really solving it? And there's the 5 core elements. You must learn these. You know, and traditional thinking comes along when trying to challenge or solve these problems, and they say, well, all you need is an IRA or 401k, maybe some mutual funds, CDs. But does it really solve the problems of risk, taxes, regulation, penalties, inflation, and dollar? You see, here's the challenge. If I have $1 today, what is the rate of return I need just to have the same buying power 365 days later? Well, if I invest $1, I might have to pay some capital gains tax of 15%. Our inflation rates, we're not being told the truth on that. We complete the studies for you and show you the real rates of return across the country. We might be facing 4% inflation and 6% depreciation. Depreciation came from the Congressional Budget Office, not me. So if these are the numbers that the government has put up, in 1 year, we need a 12.8% rate of return just to break even, Mr. and Mrs. Client. While you can run down the Chase Bank, they got a 13-month CD that's paying 0.25%. This is how you're supposed to maintain your lifestyle, at 0.25% in a CD. Think about that for 1 second. You give these rascals $100 at the bank, and 13 months later, they're going to give you 25 cents, and it's taxable. These are the challenges you're facing. These are some of the elements that we have to take a look at. We have to start talking about leverage and using the least amount of money to create the most amount of wealth. We need to increase your money supply in the very first meeting, create more better benefits for you and your family, and reduce the element of risk, in the marketplace and future taxes for you, because that's where your money is disappearing at. We need to be able to accomplish these 3 goals without you spending one more dime than you're currently spending. If you sold this client an annuity, you're going to go to them and say, you know what, the annuity I sold you several years ago is not the problem. In fact, it could be the first step to the solution for your family that you're really looking for. Now, if you didn't sell them the annuity, we're going to have a little bit of a different discussion with them. We need to have a discussion between the difference between an annuity and a modified endowment. And I hope everybody here understands the difference. From the IRS standpoint, an annuity and a modified endowment is tax treated the same way, except we put a life insurance contract on the modified endowment. We've leveraged that amount to create wealth in the future for the family, tax-free. Can you take withdrawals from a modified endowment like an annuity? Yes, you can. So we need to have that discussion. Let's take a quick example for somebody that's 59 years or older on this. They got a $100,000 annuity, and I hear this all the time. Oh, there's a 6% surrender charge, Lynn. We can't touch this. Well, where's the quality of life going to be on a 65-year-old person 6 years from now when the surrender charge disappears? Where's the quality of life at? Are we willing to gamble that? Or are we going to tell the client, look, it's costing you $6,000, and if we put $6,000 into and put the remaining balance into a modified endowment, it will create a $250,000 death benefit for your family if you decide to leave the planet. That $6,000 surrender charge creates $250,000 in the 5th year. If you died at age 70, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, that's a 110% tax-free rate of return. The 20th year, it is 20.5%. If you died in the 20th year, tax-free. Your family owns the number. Well, then you're playing a little fast and furious. They're not investing $6,000. No, I'm just saying we leveraged the $6,000 loss to create this. You're really putting in $94,000, Lynn, and that's true. But we still created the $250,000 death benefit in the 10th year. That's a 10.28%. tax-free rate of return. You want to make an additional sale here? You want to do the right thing for the family? Now I'm going to teach you how to not only have this conversation, but invite that second generation of the family into the discussion and sit down with multiple premium payers in your conference room. We need to solve the problems for the coming generation of the shortfalls for retirement and the 5 core elements that they're facing: risk, taxes, regulation, inflation, and depreciation of the dollar. I hope this gives you some idea. And we're going to use sample cases. Our symposium is on February 1st and 2nd in Las Vegas. We'd like to offer Mark some scholarships for you and your team to come to Las Vegas for a day and a half. This fits into exactly what you went through the first 12 minutes in introducing what your business does. This puts it on steroids. This is the conversation pieces that are missing in our industry. So with that, Mark, I simply want to thank you for your time and the opportunity to discuss these challenges with your people, to have them understand that they do have a gift inside of them, and they can build the relationships and the referrals and increase their revenue by simply having the right conversations. In the past, our industry has trained us to sell the product, and the illustration has become our passion. We know the numbers are there, and we knock on the door of the client or walk into their office with this confidence builder, the illustration in our briefcase. And we open the door of that house and we walk in, and there's a whole different set of passions there. We're in the human nature business. We must understand the power of our communication and the ideas that are available to us today. So, Mark, I want to thank you. If anybody has any questions about the Institute, you can go on to the website, wealthandwisdominc.com. And Mark, once again, your relationship with the industry has been impeccable across the country. I've seen it and heard it firsthand, and I want to congratulate you for the work you guys have done. So with that, thanks a lot, Mark. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for that, Len. Very interesting stuff here. So, if you have any questions, if you wouldn't mind just typing those in the question box. I think I may have deleted a couple of them accidentally here. So if your questions are not answered, I certainly apologize for that. But Yeah, well, Jerry, I'm going to send out the recording to everybody so you'll get a copy of what was discussed here this morning. And let's see what other questions we have here. Len, you just said you got back from how many different presentations did you do?
Uh, we just did, I count flights, but we just did 16 different cities in 12 weeks, had 20 flights, 2 different countries, keynote speaker for a lot of organizations, and then a lot of training elements. You know, Mark, we do training elements that would fit inside your program perfectly, once a month or so, on the conversations, on the research and the changes. I read the Department of Labor. I mean, it we're in tune with what's going on in the industry and bringing some sense to this stuff. So, yeah, we've been all over the map.
Good. Well, and I know you've got a book out there too. In fact, I've got it right here in front of me. It is The Family Legacy, the Generational Solution, that was presented to us here. And so there are some good things out there. It looks like Infinity Publishing is who you use.
Well, we do. I want you to contact us on that because we can give the discounts to your people, okay, and to your organization. We have written 6 books. We have over 1 million words in print. 5 of the books made the publisher's bestsellers list. We've sold over 700,000 copies of the book you have in your hands. And agents use that. It's a 22-minute read, Mark, that discusses the challenges and brings to the table the idea of the generational solution. And it sells insurance. I mean, people use these books. That's why we sold so many of them. Representatives across the use this book to get the idea to the client.
Good. Okay. So Dan asks, it sounds as though the 5-year return on the annuity is a better return.
On 5-year.
Yeah, she just says.
Well, yeah, if somebody, yeah, I look at, if we have looking at the current screen, the 5-year is a better return. That's in the event of the death of that senior. Okay, and so the longer they live, obviously in a single premium, the death benefit's going to continue to go down. Okay. Now the unique thing is that since it's a modified endowment, the family has the ability to add more money to this thing.
Okay. So yeah,
then they follow, so they can keep the rates of return higher along that. Remember, the family owns this number. And so that's the important element. When we're looking at rates of return, in this illustration, that's upon the death of the senior person of that family.
Okay.
In a single premium situation.
Yeah. Deanne comments. You said, should she pursue the 5-year annuity instead of a 10 or 15-year?
These are lifetime annuities. This is simply a rate of return during that time frame. If we went into, and if we did, like in the previous screen, let me go back a screen here if I can. Oh, no, I don't have that control anymore.
Yeah, you do. I didn't take it from you. You should be able to.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I should be able to go back then.
Yep.
Okay, let me see what we got here. See, here's the premium right here. If we look at the 5-year rate of return, and we're talking about an annuity that goes all the way out. If the person died in the 5th year, and the rate of return on that surrender charge of $6,000 that creates $250,000 tax-free benefit to the family is 110% rate of return. If the person lives 10 years, obviously that single premium has a lesser rate of return attached to it, but it's still 45%. We're dealing with somebody that's looking at annuities as the leverage, and then taking the annuity, and now you can, in our training we talk about, you can spend down that annuity, or you can use a whole lot of single premium to create that death benefit. That's the number of certainty in your financial future. The 20-year rate of return, if that client died in the 20th year, is still 20.5% rate of return. Remember, this isn't an annuity where we're stripping out all the money. This is an annuity that they're not using for income. If it's not being used for income, it should be used for creating family wealth. It's a second sales idea in the planning that you've already laid out for them.
Let's see then. Alon's, indicates clients pay taxes if they withdraw money because it is a modified endowment contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so let's see what else do we have here.
Let's do that. Let's do that next. Here's the government penalty. Now, we showed no growth in this. So if they surrender an annuity at $100,000 and there was very or no little growth, what's the taxes on that? Taxes on the growth.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to sit there and say, well, they got a 2% rate of return, which is, not a whole lot, and they still have the ability to create this, we can throw in the government penalties, we can throw in taxes. What would you rather pay the tax now or later? Understanding the sheet I showed you from the government, would you rather wait for the taxes to become higher or lower?
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I don't see any other questions in the question box.
Now, this is, again, Mark, this isn't for everybody. We're not telling that this is carte blanche for everybody. But when you sit down with somebody, as I did in my family, at my death benefit that my kids bought on me, there's 4 families involved. They bought $4.2 million on me. Now, some of them are putting out $3,000 or $4,000 a year, but the overall premium it depends on how much they put in, but and $17,000 to $25,000 a year divided by the 4 families.
Mm-hmm.
But they own $4.2 million. If I live to my life expectancy, that's a 17.8% rate of return for the family, for my kids, at my life expectancy of 81. I don't know where else I could get that. Tax-free.
Mm-hmm.
And since they own it, Mark, they have the ability now to take that product that they own and use it as collateral for college planning for some of the 9 grandchildren we have. Does a 401k do that?
Good point.
So these are all ideas that bring new revenue,
Mm-hmm.
not challenges. We've been doing this for 18 years. We've done this in front of the legal departments of 10 different companies across the country. And we look at the underwriting aspects of this. We visited all of this. We went through the compliance issue. We have created all the software for everything that you just saw to have these conversations with a client, because this represents probably 15 slides. We have 170 different slides of different conversations that you can create on your computer, save it to your client's name in any design that you want, and open up this question to the client. I want the client to say yes or no to the idea. We owe it to the client to give them the opportunity to say yes or no to this idea. It's not up to us to say, well, it might not be for them. It's up to the client, but you must describe it to them properly.
Okay. So you mentioned the slides. What do we need to do to make these available to agents out there?
Well, you can become a member of the Institute, and I'd like to sit down with you, Mark, and work out a deal with you and your representatives on a discount. And typically it's $1,500 to start up,
Mm-hmm.
and our renewals each year is running right around $375. If they join this first year, that includes the symposium in Las Vegas. They can come to Las Vegas. I want you to come to Las Vegas, and it's a great time, a day and a half filled with people in that room, of top of the table producers, new ideas, new conversations, new marketing pieces. That this is just one idea
Mm-hmm.
that gets the idea of the client. Remember, we have over 1 million words in print, 5 books on the publisher's bestsellers list. And when we take a look at some of the things that we can present to a client, I mean, we have created in our software the presentations element that we have created, so you can create your own presentations. When we go to the presentation builder, you now have the ability to create your own slides in any way any fashion that you want, any order that you want. I'll give you a real quick example. We have a slide stage and we have 170 slides over here. Let me just create a quick conversation with a client that I want to show them when they come in tomorrow. I'm just dragging these slides over, creating a presentation. This is great for if you're doing seminars or something like that. Here's 5 slides. Now I can save that to the client's name, or I can immediately play them. And this presentation simply says, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if you're starting your planning today, you want to put your money in something that is 100% taxable, income tax or capital gains taxable, or tax-free. And the question is, Mr. and Mrs. Client, why is 90% of all the planners pointing you in a direction where you don't want to go? A very simple conversation, but we have now opened up the thought process of that client. See, the only elements in that presentation I just showed you that we can drive forward is life insurance, inheritances, you know, and just bring that to the point. We can invest in the family, we can invest in inheritances, and we can invest in life insurance. Out of all those elements I showed you on that screen, out of all of those elements, and I'll just pull up one to show it to you. The ones, if your client says anything else but tax-free, pack up your stuff and leave. You know? And so you sit there and say, look, here are the elements I can drive forward for you today. I can drive forward the value of your family using life insurance. I can generationally increase the value of the inheritances that are left behind, and I can increase your value of your family utilizing life insurance and teaching you how to use it while you're alive, not when you're dead. All of these other elements I cannot drive forward. I cannot simply say, well, let's make your 401k worth 2.5 times what it is today in one conversation, like I can with life insurance or the inheritances. We just can't have that conversation. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if you're starting your planning today, you want it to be 100% taxable, sometimes taxable or tax-free. Simple question.
Okay.
This brings a lot of value to the conversation and giving the client an opportunity to say no to the idea. I want them to say no because at least I've done my job.
Yeah.
And we've created all the marketing pieces. We have, like I said, over 80 marketing pieces. Every slide that you have has a marketing piece attached to it. So we can go into our training element. Not only do we have these presentations, but the presentation that I just showed you, everything I just showed you on here, I just pull this up. There's a conversation I just had with you, bringing your annuity back to life. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can pull that up, here's the legacy conversation master. Here's the exact words you sit down with. Here's the very beginning, the lessons in financial clarity, the 5 reasons why it's difficult, Mr. and Mrs. Client, why you're having a challenge of getting ahead in your financial life. We open up the discussions with these. All of a sudden, you've separated yourself from the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's having this conversation with the public except for your agents, your representatives, you. So we've created all this to support the discussion that you want. Today's economic trends and shifts. Okay? And so we look at all of the things that we've created so that the client can have the right conversation and bring it to the client, because here's the 5 magic words, Mark, that we want to hear from the client. In any conversation that we treat, we want 5 words to come out of their mouth. What should I be doing? That's it. When I show them something about taxation, when I show them the difficulty they're having, I want them to look at me and say, if that's true, what should I be doing? Well, we cannot continue down the same traditional thought process that doesn't solve the problems of risk, taxes, regulation, inflation, depreciation of the dollar. We need to solve those problems, not monitor them.
Okay. Deanne was asking, as far as policies or products are you referring to, or would you recommend Index Universal Life?
I will show you illustrations. If you want to do another webcast in a month, I'll show you a couple of cases where in one family setting, I used the Universal Life product and a whole life product generationally. And in that setting with that doctor, the revenue that was created in a 1-hour conversation, the commission element of that was right around $70,000 with no resistance. They saw the answer right in front of them. So as a practitioner, you're going to decide whether to use Universal Life or Whole Life or what other products that you want to do. If I was to simply recommend one product, that would be a mistake because everybody's life is different. I use Universal Life when we have multiple premium payers because it has a flexible premium associated with it. So, there are many times that I can use Universal Life or Index Life, but in Whole Life, there's reasons to use that also.
Okay. All right, folks, any other questions for Mr. Rainier while we have him here with us this morning? Go ahead and type those in the question box. Okay, Dan says thank you. Okay. You know what? I think that wraps it up. Question box is empty. So, Leonard, thank you so much for taking time here this morning for us. Obviously, some great stuff to get us thinking. We will do more here, obviously, to communicate with all of you out here that are attending. Obviously, first of all, we'll send you out the recording. But in addition to that, we'll get you more information as far as, what you can do to get more involved and, attend an upcoming training. So I don't know if you have any parting words or comments for us.
Well, I think you guys are with the right company. You're moving in the right direction, the right type of philosophy. It's not all product driven. It's relationship driven, and that's where the business needs to get back to. So, Mark, again, thank you for the time.
Yes, thank you. And I'll be following up with you all later as well. Ask if you have any questions, anything we can do to help you out here. So thank you again for attending. Have yourself a great week, and we'll be in touch with you very soon.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.